think so.
Welcome back, everybody. It's been a little while since it's been me and Melissa. I feel like since we recorded. Before we jump into our topic today, we wanted to talk about a couple of new class options. The first one is home prescriber. It's with CHE Online, where Melissa's actually going to school again, always. So it's through them. It's a free course you can download. So it's basics of homeopathy, I would say, from a little bit more of a classical approach, probably a lot more of a classical approach than Gateway.
Yeah, Banerjees,
so
yeah.
Even if you have taken Gateways, this is another great thing to do because the course is free. And Melissa, your study group's only $27. So a really good place to start, or to go after Gateway, or to just add in. I've really enjoyed listening to Hillary. I don't remember her last name. Hillary Dorian. Listening to her speak.
Yes,
like people have said that about you, but I love listening to her too. Just have it in the background playing, even though it's stuff I know. Hearing a different teacher has been good and cool. The other one is the new old viruses and post-viral syndrome. So that turned into 4.5 hours of time instead of 3. And so many good questions were answered. A ton of information. I mean, a lot. So that is also really affordable. You can go to Melissa's website, melissacrenshaw.com, under courses. It's in there and it's self-paced. So you can take that whenever, and it's the recording. So you can listen in chunks or whatever. And then the slideshow has all of your information that you provided. And as you listen, you can take extra notes. There's a lot more information that we talked about at the end when we did questions. So
So in the with the course, you get the slides and you get the chat box. So everything that was discussed in the chat box, you get that too as a download. And you can just pause it and take notes and get all this stuff into your notes. And then I've had several people say to me how thankful they were already that they had that information, because right after that, or since then at least, they or somebody they knew got sick with a virus, and they were able to help them tremendously because of the information that was given.
And there's so much weird post-viral stuff people are dealing with. And you talked about a lot. I mean, we covered the whole, what do you call it? The whole spectrum, I feel like, of weird things.
I tried to do some research before so I could try to get everything that people are dealing with. So
I feel like we covered a good amount.
The
other thing is Taproots. I know that you work with them a lot, but taprootsva.com is the website, and they made a kit off of your course
that matches the new old virus course. That's right. Awesome.
So that was
so
awesome.
So go check those two things out if you haven't taken those yet, or come take a Gateway course. I would suggest home prescriber first, and then Gateway 1, and then Gateway 2, and then the mentorship program. And then the new old viruses course is just, if you feel like you need extra help in your family with viruses, or if you have post-viral syndrome, then you definitely want to take that. Awesome.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about bedwetting today. And I have lots and lots of remedies here to talk about. So I'm just going to jump in, and so that we don't make this podcast episode too long, but you're going to want to take notes. So get some notes and, hit that pause button and write stuff down, and then get all these things into your notes. This is big. This is a lot that I'm going to cover today. So I just remembered it's better when I hold my mic next to my mouth. Okay, so Equisetum is horsetail, and Robin Murphy suggested that you use that in the mother tincture. So that's the herbal form. And he suggested 5 to 10 drops 3 times per day, and give that when you don't know what else to do, when you don't know what to give. he also said that the Equisetum tea, is a kidney and bladder tonic. So remember, Dr. Murphy was a naturopathic doctor who really focused on homeopathy. So he used lots of herbs and tinctures and tonics and, things like that I don't generally use. So if you decide to use the herbal form that's not homeopathic, it can have contraindications in certain people or with other medications. I don't know. I'm not an herbalist and I'm not a
Do your
naturopathic
research.
doctor. Do your research. Yep.
Yeah.
But you can just use it in the homeopathic form, which is totally safe and no problem. So the differentials is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to differentiate between all the different remedies. And so Equisetum is good for stimulating the kidney function. It has a very strong affinity for the kidneys. It has polyuria. And when I say it has, I mean your person that you're helping might have some of these symptoms. So these are the rubrics. These are the symptoms that we're going to look at. Polyuria is frequent and abundant urination. They have a very strong smelling urine. So this being horsetail, the urine might smell like a horse's urine. It's very strong smell. And there might be cystitis, at which we are going to cover next time. So look for that podcast next. We're going to really dig deep into cystitis. Kidney disorders and weakness, pain in the kidneys, constant desire to urinate, passes clear, light-colored urine without relief, nocturnal bedwetting of children without cause. So think about that. It's really much more common in boys to have the bedwetting happen than it is for girls. And yes, of course, girls can do that, but boys tend to do it more often. And you might not know the cause, or might not be a cause other than just habit. So if you think that about your young boy, then you could do Equisetum. Also, parents, I want to encourage you not to be discouraged if you have a 10 to 12-year-old boy who is still wetting the bed. I've heard that quite often. So, and homeopathy can help. So if you're at that stage, then go ahead and, use some of these remedies. But you can, I think, help your child sooner than that, right? You don't have to go all the way.
Yeah.
That long.
That might also, starting here, may help rule out any other conditions. Like if you're worried that maybe there is an underlying problem, you could start here, because that could help rule out that if it's just a habit, or if, something like that, that's a little bit easier to take care of. And then if it doesn't work, move on to maybe something more involved, or look into other things.
Yes. And, you can always go and get a diagnosis from a doctor if you want to.
That's true. Yeah.
Homeopathy, we don't have to have a diagnosis in order to help somebody. We can just go based on the symptoms. So that's really what we'll talk about today, is what does it look like? Because as you'll see today, there are lots of different ways that bedwetting can present itself. And we're going to talk about some emotional things and some causes and some modalities. So this is how you'll differentiate. So bedwetting when he dreams. Feeling a full bladder, not relieved by urination. So of course this would be during the day. So if this symptom goes along with bedwetting at night, then you might think of this remedy. A sharp, burning, cutting pain in the urethra on urination. Incontinence in old women with involuntary stools. So we are gonna, there are some really good remedies also for your elderly people. So if you have, and I would say, and it does say women in the Materia Medica, but I would say you could use this for men too. If they're having involuntary stools and incontinence and or bedwetting, then this might be a good remedy. Frequent urination at night. So it might even be that you are getting up a lot to urinate at night. Maybe you're not even bedwetting. Maybe you're just having to urinate a lot at night. And that's the cause of your sleeplessness, which that can take you down a whole terrible road. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're not sleeping because you have to get up and use the bathroom all night, that can really mess up a lot of things in your body. Severe pain at the end of urination And of course, this can be worse at night and at the end of urination. So the next remedy is causticum. Causticum has a history of holding the urine. So you think about these little boys that don't want to stop playing.
Oh yeah. I
That's
have
what
a
they
kid
do.
like that. Yeah.
I think probably both of my boys have done that, where I think most boys do that when they're playing, they're building
and they'll go to
Legos.
Yep, they'll start running to the bathroom after they're going already in their pants, like, oh, I had to go so bad. And you even ask them 1,000 times, do you need to go to the bathroom? Do you need to go?
Because you can see them doing
no,
that
I don't have to go. Yeah.
You can see them dancing around. Nope, I don't have to go, because they don't want to stop what they're doing.
I know.
So they're holding it. And if they do that chronically, then you might look at causticum as a remedy. And then I've seen plenty of boys who are just drop their pants outside, if they're outside playing, not drop their, they don't have to drop their pants,
kind of, they do. It's mortifying. If you have never experienced this, I have to tell this story. I was at the Renaissance Festival in Charlotte when we lived there, and it was not my child. It's happened to my kids, but this poor mom, it was this like fenced in little area of wood chips, tons of people. And her little 3-year-old boy just runs over to the edge, pulls his pants down, just stands there and goes like, literally like the whole arc. And she is just like, I don't know what to do. And I stood there kind of trying to block him. Like, I get it. This will happen to me.
Yeah.
So it's fine. But anyway.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah. Especially with boys. We had a cousin who did that in the neighbor's yard, and the neighbor came running out, was so mad. And I was like, well, he's just a boy. He's outside. Like, what's
not hurting anything? I know.
Not hurting anything. He's helping your tree, don't you?
Yeah, right. It's fine.
So this person might have a weak sphincter. This bedwetting or this problem with urination could be caused by fright, grief, worry, sorrow, or night watching. And again, we're talking about causticum. Involuntary passage of urine on coughing, walking, blowing nose, or sneezing.
Just like postpartum kind of stuff where you sneeze and you have to be like, cross your legs. Okay.
Yep. Urine dribbles or passes slowly. So you're going to want to ask the person questions. Okay. So when we're talking about a little boy or any kid or any especially a child, they might not know the answers to these questions. So you'll observe, and, you'll maybe even have to be in the bathroom sometimes to observe some of these things. So the urine dribbles or passes slowly might be something you have to observe in your child. And then if it's a girl, you can't really do that. So you try to ask the questions. This person might have black, cloudy, or white urine. Better cold drinks, damp, wet weather, washing, warmth of bed, gentle motion. So you're always going to ask the person if there's anything that makes it better or worse. And don't feed them anything. Remember, don't say, is it better when you drink a cold drink? We're not going to ask yes or no questions. Okay. We're just going to ask them, is there anything that makes it better or worse? And then it's worse for clear, fine weather, dry, cold air, extremes of temperature, change of weather, wind, drafts, 3 to 4 a.m. So this is big. So if your child is coming to wake you up around that time every morning or whatever, most mornings, you might think of causticum. And we'll do some other time modalities in a little bit. And then also worse 6 to 8 p.m. So maybe you're thinking, that could be at the very beginning of sleep if you have a young child who goes to bed,
right,
like around
right
7 or 8.
Before bed or right when they fall asleep, and then that and early morning.
Yep.
Okay, a question, because I'm thinking of, this is what people do in homeopathy, including myself. You read the remedies and I'm like, I can, all of these. Mm-hmm. So in this situation, would you just stick to one remedy?
Yeah.
Or ever rotate a couple or no?
Not at first.
So you just pick one and stick with it.
Yep.
Okay.
I would stick with one for a while first. Yeah.
And we treat this chronically. I know it's not an illness all the time, but you would treat it chronically, like give it a couple months.
So I would, if the child has been doing this for more than 4 weeks,
Okay.
more than 3
Which
or 4
most little
weeks, then
kids
it's
really,
chronic,
it's like they've been doing it forever and you're trying to get to an end.
right? So mostly it's going to be chronic, but let's just say your 2-year-old starts wetting in the bed.
Yes.
You know,
That does happen with transitions. I mean, you hear that of a new
right.
baby is born or they go to preschool
Yeah.
or some traumatic event has happened.
Yep. And we're gonna, and so some of those emotional aspects, you know,
Yeah.
where it can be caused by cost of can be caused by grief, worry, sorrow.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, we don't know how our children are handling these transition times. And then of course, don't mix it up with potty training. So if your child is fully potty trained and night weaned from well, there's a couple things. If your child is fully potty trained during the day and, you know, and at night, and not having a pull up or diaper or anything at night, not wetting the bed, then and then they suddenly start, then you're going to look at remedies.
Okay.
If now, then where you immediately treat it chronically is you've been trying to get them potty trained at night, you know, now they're 3 and you're like, okay, this, you know, I don't know that there's a perfect exact age that they should be not wetting at night. I just think you'll decide when you decide as a parent, okay, this is a problem, then, you know, start looking at remedies. This can also be worse for the motion of a car and taking hold of anything. I almost left that out, but I thought this is just how funny the materia medica is.
Well, those are weird things, like you've said, where
right?
people will mention some totally bizarre explanation.
Yeah.
I did see that too. It was like, what does that mean? But somebody might hear it and be like, that's what it is.
Yeah. Somebody really might say to you, you know what, every time he right?
Can't even
Takes a hold of something. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's weird. Okay, next remedy, sepia. So I don't generally use sepia in children. It's not that you can't, but it would definitely not be my first thing that I would use, because it really has a big affinity, a big action on the hormones. So we don't want to mess too much with children's hormones. But this is great for bedwetting, especially when there's a weak bladder. Dribbling urine during laughing or coughing or sneezing and then wets the bed. So, I mean, this might actually even be for an adult, you know, that could be doing this. And like you said, postpartum. So if there's constipation,
meaning 20 years after babies.
Oh,
I feel like there are a lot of women who deal with stuff that started postpartum maybe.
Yep.
And just has not ever gone away. And we just are thinking this is just our new body.
That's so sad.
So
it's never, I just want to encourage you right now. It's never just something you're just going to deal with for the rest of your life. I guess I shouldn't say never, but really
to not have that attitude.
Yeah. Don't have that attitude. Try homeopathy. You know, it can uproot so many things. So if there's a constipation, you know, I've heard of boys having, being constipated and wetting the bed, and and it be because their bowel is full and it presses on the bladder, you know, or it just be part of the gut issue, you know, the whole picture of the gut issue and everything. Sepia has a big action on the liver too, so it's really good. It's really such a great remedy. It could be come along with hormone disorders, prolapsed bladder. Sensation as if bladder falls to the side that you're lying on. So if you lay down and then you feel like your bladder shifts to that side, or, you know, goes all the way down, then you might think of sepia. Bedwetting during the first part of sleep. So I actually had a mom call me today, and just for, you know, the little free 15-minute phone call that you can get before you sign up for a consult. And that's exactly what she said. She said that her child falls asleep, like right as soon after he falls asleep, he wets the bed. And I couldn't think of the remedy off the top of my head. But I was like, oh my gosh, me and Bree are getting ready to do a bedwetting podcast. So this can be caused by overwork, anger, and vexation, or puberty. This person might have weak kidneys. There might be a feeble stream of urine that's thick, foul smelling, white, milky. There might be blood in it. It might be gritty, red, adhesive, sandy sediment.
That sounds terrible.
It does. And I've helped people with that before. I've heard it. Yeah.
That makes sense if it's well, this isn't the kidney one, I know, but a lot of these seem to have some kind of, obviously, a relation to the kidneys.
Yeah. Yeah. Sepia is better with motion. And worse for cold air and lying on the left side. So
you would use sepia sometimes in men. I've most commonly seen women use it for hormone things, but it sounds like it, especially puberty, is stuck out to me since it's a hormone remedy. If you have a young, even like prepubescent, where the hormones are starting to go kind of crazy and they relapse or whatever back to wetting the bed again.
Yep. Yeah.
So good. Okay.
Okay. Benzoic acid is the next remedy. And benzoic acid, you would think of that if the urine stains the sheets yellow and the smell cannot be washed out. So I've not had that happen to me personally, except for, of course, with cloth diapering. So when I use the cloth diapers, then you have to strip them to get that urine out. I mean, and that's common in diapers. So that's different, but that's the only thing I can relate it to is, when I've had kids wet the bed, I could wash the sheets and the smell came out. But if you have one that really stains the sheets yellow and the smell can't be washed out, benzoic acid is the only one that I know of that says that in the Materia Medica. Kidney and or bladder disorders, uric acid, offensive urine with a strong smell. Urine is hot, dark brown, strong, foul odor that might even smell like ammonia. This person might be better from heat or with heat, and better from profuse urination, and worse from open air, cold, weather changes, uncovering, motion, and lying down. So think about your child who, as soon as they turn over in the bed, then they pee in the bed. Or if they get hot and they take their covers off, then they pee in the bed.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be your worst for motion and worst for uncovering. That
ammonia smell, that seems like a good keynote to remember.
Yeah.
I have experienced that before when they were in pull-ups. Like, I remember thinking, this does not smell normal. Like, it worried me. Like, that was so strong. And ammonia was exactly what I thought of.
Wow.
So in that case, though, if there's, I know we talk about this in all of the remedies. When there's something strong like that, like a very specific thing with this remedy that sticks out to me, but there are maybe more of another remedy that matches. That was kind of hard to me. Like, when you think belladonna has a really strong red hot high, but maybe another remedy has a lot of a longer list that matches all those weird modalities and things. Which one would you choose in that kind of situation?
I think I would always choose the one with the longest list.
Okay.
And then that one that had a specific thing that stood out, I would go there next if that first one didn't work.
Okay. That's where my brain went to. So that's good confirmation.
Yeah. All right. And then phosphorus. Phosphorus has voracious thirst for ice cold drinks. Dry mouth, over drinking in the evening is causing the bedwetting. And you know this, you see the child get super thirsty at night or in the evening and start drinking. And you're like, no.
Yes. Setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Because then that's the reason that they're wetting the bed, because they drink too much in the evening. Because, I can drink too much in the evening, but I wake up and I go to the bathroom. I don't like to drink too much in the evening because I will wake up and have to go, right? But the kid can't wake this, not, some kids can, but this kid can't wake up. So they're over drinking and then they just, they let it all out. Fear of the dark and emotional problems that led to the bedwetting. So that can do it. And think about, okay, so fear of the dark. Is it, and I don't think this really matters because you can just use phosphorus, but is it that they're too afraid to get up to go to the bathroom? Because I've had a kid or two with that they were didn't, and so so they need a nightlight, right? Or but even with a nightlight, it's still dim. It's still not, they might still be afraid.
And you have to go to the bathroom, go out of a hallway or something.
Yeah.
That can be,
yeah.
That's a good point.
So, this could also be caused by anger, fear, grief, worry, excessive use of salt or sugar. And so you're going to want to take really good notes, with your kids. And, okay, no, that's wrong. I was like, what? So I just had a notification pop up of an appointment, but it was canceled. But my calendar still told me about it, and I was like, am I about to have to jump off again?
Yeah.
No. Okay. We're good. Okay. So you're going to want to take good notes on your person, on your child, or your elderly person, and kind of figure out some modalities and some causations if you can. Etiology is what that is. And also, are they very just an angry person? Then you're going to think of some of these. There are several of these that say caused by anger. And then blood in the urine. So phosphorus, remembers your bloody nose remedy. And so if there's blood in the urine, that kind of goes along with that. That's called hematuria. And then phosphorus is worse for thunderstorms and lightning, worse in the evening, worse lying on the left side, worse lying on the painful side, and worse lying on the back. So these are the times when they will wet the bed, right? Or if they have kidney or bladder pain. So lycopodium is a big children's remedy, very big. If you have children, you likely need to have lycopodium in your house. It's such a big kids remedy. I'm not saying that all kids need it, but children with poor confidence, digestive problems, and a domineering parent who wets the bed, you're going to want to think of lycopodium. Lycopodium is very self-conscious, and they have a fear or an embarrassment that happened to them, and ever since then they wet the bed. So you might have to really do some thinking, like what happened? You always ask that, what happened just before? And you can figure some things out.
That might be something to have. I feel like it's helpful to have someone else to ask questions in those times, because you can sit there and think and not remember, but if somebody else can come ask you, did this happen? Did anything like this occur? I've had several times where that's happened. I've asked somebody else a question and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or something they didn't think of.
Well, yeah. And I can think of so many examples right now of that when, it's hard to be objective when it's you or your loved one. And, just recently when I was sick, and what did I do? I voxed, what's it called? Used Voxer.
I don't know.
And I got on there with Bree and I was like, I can't believe this, I'm sick. And I was just telling her what I was feeling like. And she was like, well, have you done gelsemium? And I said, of course I need gelsemium. Like I didn't even, like I couldn't even think. So yes, I love that. Definitely get some help sometimes if you're having a hard time figuring stuff out. And There's a fear of wetting the bed and a fear of being punished for wetting the bed, which makes them wet the bed even more.
But you know what is interesting there? We talked about this a little bit in the abuse and trauma and the grief podcast, is there are times, I mean, I've even experienced this with my oldest son. He just turned 6 and he wets the bed often. So he usually still sleeps in pull-ups, but sometimes they'll even leak. And he has never gotten in trouble for this. We have always made sure we respond so fine. It's totally fine. We'll put a new pull-up on. You can sleep in our bed, sleep wherever you want. And he's still, I think it's just developmentally, he's getting older and he still is a little bit nervous about it. I can tell. He'll try to take care of it himself, or just for whatever reason, be worried that we're going to be upset. And I'm like, you've never gotten in trouble for this.
Yeah.
So if maybe that's encouraging to some parents, like your kids, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong or terrible to them.
Right.
Some fear just develops, I think.
That's true. That's true. Yes. Thank you for that reminder. Yes. Because I'm like, my mind went straight to, the parent that yells or screams or punishes.
Which does
them.
happen.
Like,
it does happen. It does make me so sad.
But right. It could be, your child could just be very self-conscious about it and be worried about it even without you having done it.
And I know, our oldest too is really considerate. And I know he's probably thinking, oh, I don't want to wake them up. Like, inconvenience us. I know it's sweet. But it does make me feel bad. So get it.
Well, so when there are gut issues and low self-esteem that come along with that, you really probably are going to think of lycopodium. And and then they hold their urine a lot during the day, and then it comes out more at night. And then again, parents or older, if the child's parents, or even it could be older siblings, are overbearing, domineering, bossy, it can cause them to have low self-esteem, which then can lead to all kinds of stuff. But bedwetting is what we're talking about today. There can be involuntary urination at any time, right? Night or day, frequent urge to urinate that takes a long time to pass. So you might see them standing there or sitting there for a long time and just dribbling, just going, making it, or taking a long time to come out. This is interesting, frequent and copious urine at night, but scanty during the day.
Yeah.
And caused by fear, fright, abuse, anger, anxiety, embarrassment, sugar, sweets. They might have hot urine with heavy red sediment. And this is a big one for nephritis. So almost all of the remedies had nephritis in there in the Materia Medica, but I'm only mentioning nephritis in the remedies that were very big for nephritis, that had bold. And then also remember that we're not doctors and we're not diagnosing. And if you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor. I'm telling you what the Materia Medica says. Okay.
What nephritis is kidney inflammation.
Yeah.
Not bladder. Yes. Okay.
Right. And it can be a really big deal. Nephritis can be. So, so that's why I'm really saying right now, whether you get the help of a medical professional is totally up to you. But lycopodium is a big remedy for nephritis. And the next one is plantago. This is not a very big remedy at all. It's a real small remedy in the Materia Medica, but it has toothache with bedwetting.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
Right, connection.
So if your child is only bedwetting while they have a toothache, then you might think of plantago.
I've never heard of this remedy.
Yeah. Caused by bite. This is weird too. So caused by bites, bruises, burns, cuts, puncture wounds, snake bites, stings. So when you think about cuts, you can think of even surgeries. So surgery is a cut. When you think about puncture wounds, you can think about a shot of any kind. And then of course, like it says, the other snake bites, stings, bruises, burns. If that thing happened first and then the child started wetting the bed, then, and that's where you always ask what happened just before. Irritable bladder with frequent urination and then profuse flow of urine. That's Plantago, small remedy. All right, and then Thuya. Ooh, we love Thuya. Did I disappear? But I was still
you're here.
talking.
You're good.
Okay. All right. So Thuya has bedwetting, of course. And are we still recording? Okay, yes. And then paralysis of the sphincter of the bladder. I love Thuya so much. Thuya also has, so the bladder might feel paralyzed and they might have to wait for urination. So they feel like they need to urinate, but they just sit there and wait and wait and wait because the bladder feels paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
There might be burning in the urethra, a cutting pain after urination. The urinary stream is forked and small.
That's so specific.
Right? Very specific. So,
yeah.
It comes out in like 2 different streams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even 3, but probably 2 streams are coming out. And it's a very small stream. So there's a frequent urge to urinate with profuse flow. This can be caused by badly treated or suppressed gonorrhea. It can be caused by vaccinations, tea, coffee, beer, tobacco, sweets, fatty meat, and onions.
Okay.
As you're taking really good notes.
Yeah. Some of that makes sense. And some of it, I'm like,
well, you
onions.
realize every night, every time we have onions, he pees in the bed that night. So you keep food logs. Seriously. And I know, so I don't want this to overwhelm you. This can be as easy or as hard as you want to make it, really.
Right.
Because you can literally just open up a document in your phone, the Notes app or a Google Doc or whatever, and voice it, had whatever to eat tonight, and then wet the bed tonight or didn't. And you can find a pattern.
Yeah. And as you're taking other notes, you might naturally see that combined with some of your other, the things you've written down either match Thuya really well or don't.
Yeah. So Thuya also is big for nephritis, especially with swollen feet. The urethra is swollen and inflamed, and the urine burns, dribbles, is foul smelling and foamy. I have heard people saying, describing foamy urine before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good old right.
Yeah. So the last one is Senna, and it's a big one. Senna, some people say Cina, Cina, is not China, and it's not cinchona bark. Those are 2 different. So China and cinchona bark are the same. Senna is different. So this bedwetting is due to worms and reflex irritation points, such as those listed that I'm going to tell you about here. So the reflex irritation points of worms. The child, it might pick their nose or bore a lot. So that's a lot of boring. And their anus might itch, grinding of the teeth, which is also called bruxism, rubbing the eyes. So the baby might rub their face in the pillow a lot or rub their face on you a lot. So this is excessive. If the baby's rubbing their face on the person that's holding them or into the bed, then you really might think of Senna. Cross-eyed or has ticks in the eyes with twitching of the face or eyelids, restless feet, biting the nails, dark circles under the eyes, worm breath, which is foul and sour, gnawing hunger, ravenous appetite without weight gain. Again, rubs their head into the pillow, ears itching and yawning. Those are the reflex irritation points of worms. So if they have those along, and they don't have to have all of them, but if they have some or even just one or most of them with bedwetting, this person probably sleeps on their stomach, wants to be rocked, voracious, insatiable, ravenous appetite, precocious, especially when they don't get food, vomiting without cause, sudden diarrhea, sudden fever of unknown origin, night terrors that are due to worms.
I feel like every
So-
time we do these, I need to leave and go investigate my family's life.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yep.
it is
Well, I wish I
always
had
good
known
information.
all of this when my oldest was very little. But well,
Yes.
I mean, bedwetting, no, but the other things. My oldest one never wet the bed, not ever.
Oh my word.
And he's a boy. I know.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
crazy. Well, our youngest he did fine at 2 years old. He almost stopped for a long time. Now he does again, but we've also moved and there's been so much transition. But I think even knowing, having homeopathy as an option that's affordable, I can learn. I don't know. It has really changed my life as a mother.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this before, but having these for moms who get anxious, you worry for your kids about, anything you can think of to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing you have like these really good options for something that's very common is nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's all we have for bedwetting.
And you can add these to your notes if you've been listening to our podcast and you're learning remedies anyway. You can add to, Thuya's and a lot of other things that we've talked about, like a podium. So add those to your notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep stocking it up,
So when you're keeping notes, you can keep notes by condition and you can keep notes by remedy. So, so you should do both. So if you're doing both, then what you'll do is under your Thuya note, you're going to add bedwetting. And then under your bedwetting note,
add all these.
Thuya. All these, yep.
Yeah. And we will transcribe this. This will be on your website.
Yeah.
In the blog. So you can go get help with notes there. If you're listening in the car or something, don't stop. And take notes.
That's right. That's right. I bet you could just copy and paste.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But well, you could, but it's, the way we transcribe it is conversational. So not really like note-taking style. So anyway, I hope this has blessed you. And look, next time we're going to do cystitis. So which is very similar to this. We're going to do some of the same remedies, but not all of the same remedies. And so come back next time for cystitis. Have a blessed day.